was not enough for them to be acknowledged. It was not enough for them to be accepted. Wasn't enough for them to compete in beauty pageants. Wasn't enough for them to infiltrate the locker room with the cucumber, or in some cases, the miniature thimble. It was not enough for them to take over and dominate athletics. And now it is not going to be enough for those who choose to identify as the former man to be named the current woman of the year. The question is, when will it be enough? What is going to be next? Are we going to pretend that Bobby Baboona is the woman of the year? Speaking of Bobs, why don't we go ahead and give the award to Bob Greiner? How about Rachel Levine? Look at this sexy woman. Where's my dirty sock? I might have to take a break for a few minutes to enjoy this abundance of sexiness. Since we seem to be having some trouble recently properly identifying or defining a woman, I decided to look up the definition. Now, unlike some on our Supreme Court or some of our incompetent politicians, I didn't have to utilize the services of a biologist to find the definition of a woman, which, by the way, that line from Ketanji Brown Jackson, it always confused me. I am far from an expert in science. Science was always my worst subject in school. I find science to be incredibly boring, but if you needed the help from an expert to properly identify a woman, maybe you're tired of spending weekends alone and you like the company of a real woman instead of the deflated inflatable, which can no longer hold air because you poked too many holes in it. If you needed the help of an expert to help you find a woman to fill those lonely weekends, wouldn't you call a doctor? If the doctor was too busy to take your call, wouldn't you settle for a nurse? The last person I would call is a biologist. Thank you for calling the science department at Woke U. This is Bronson with the removed Johnson. How may I direct your call? I need the assistance of a biologist to identify a woman. I'm sorry, our biologists are busy providing gender-affirming care to a non-binary baboon. Please try back again later. Out of curiosity, I looked up the definition of a woman. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a woman is defined as an adult female human being who is capable of pregnancy and giving birth between the stages of puberty and menopause, which means 80% of the yentas on The View no longer capable of giving birth. But if you were responsible for naming the woman of the year, who are some women that you would recognize or nominate? Maybe you would nominate Kamala Harris. Maybe you would nominate the dancing queen, Jackie Mahomes. Dancing queen, young and sweet, my name is Jackie. Maybe you're looking for someone more professional, like a pretend doctor, maybe Jill Biden. If you were responsible for naming the woman of the year, you're going to nominate a real birthing person, right? You're going to nominate someone who was actually born a woman, right? Let me ask you something. How many of you guys would nominate Dylan Mulvaney? Anyone? Is anyone nominating Dylan Mulvaney for the prestigious title of Woman of the Year? Luckily for Bobby D, all of you degenerates who have been infected with the phobia of identifiers, you were not given the responsibility of naming the Woman of the Year. Attitude is a magazine that is based in the United Kingdom. The magazine caters to all letters of the alphabet, but they specifically cater to the G's and LGBT. Attitude, they collaborated with Virgin Atlantic, which is the preferred airline for people like the Star Trek Virgin Mike Freeman. If you're a man married to a woman, Virgin, not the airline for you. If you're a male identifier trying to seduce the hair off of Chewbacca, Virgin will fly you anywhere in the world to make that happen. The collaboration of Attitude and Virgin, they were responsible for naming the Woman of the Year in the UK. Now, I'm not too familiar with how things work in the United Kingdom, but I figured the Woman of the Year would have to be from Scotland, Ireland, or England. Well, KC, what about Wales? Well, CNN is actually responsible for Wales. With CNN residing comfortably at the bottom of the woke sea, they are responsible for determining the sexiest whale. Last year, they gave the award to Shamu, who is more commonly known here in America as the Lizzo. Earlier this week, The Attitude of Virgins, they made the exciting announcement as to who will be named the Woman of the Year in the UK. They organized this sophisticated ceremony with a pulpit included so the winner could preach to the crowd of identifiers. They hired a DJ to play all the favorite hits. They were playing the classics here. They played the smash hit from the Village People, LGBT. They included some Bryan Adams, Have You Ever Really Become a Woman? And my personal favorite from Barney Spears, Oh baby, baby, how was I supposed to know your gender identifying? The air was filled with anticipation. The excitement could not be contained. Dozens of people were waiting to see who would be their feminine inspiration for the next year. Who was going to be that special woman who fulfills all those wishes for the Make-A-Wish Foundation? Who was going to visit the people in the gender-affirming care units in the hospital? Who was it going to be? Who was going to be the face of femininity for the next 12 months? Would it be you? Would it be me? Would it be the beautiful face of Rachel Levine? To their credit, Virgin Attitude, they gave this prestigious honor to a very deserving woman. Watch for yourself.
You know, some see me as the Woman of the Year. Some see me as a woman of a year and some change, as I only publicly came out online 560 days ago. And some people don't see me as a woman at all. No matter how hard I try, or what I wear, or what I say, or what surgeries I get, I will never reach an acceptable version of womanhood by those hateful people's standards.
Unfortunately, this is no longer surprising. You know, it wasn't all that long ago that something like this would cause serious backlash and outrage. If this happened in 2019 or maybe even 2020, millions of people would be pissed off about it. But in the span of about 2 years, this has become normalized. It's just another headline. It's just another blurb in the mainstream media. This was not even the leading story in my news feed over the past 2 days, and rightfully so. I mean, the conflict in the Middle East should be the leading story, but even if that was not happening, this would not have been the biggest headline in my news feed because it's all become so normal. We have men identifying as women competing in beauty pageants all over Europe and the United States. It's no longer shocking to see the headline, Bearded Bob defeats legendary Linda in female powerlifting competition. Let me tell you one of my bigger problems with Dylan Mulvaney. Now, I could not give a fuck less about the 18 months of womanhood documentary or whatever the hell it's called. I don't watch it, so it has no effect on me. I think it should be age restricted. I think it should only be available to adults. I don't think children have any business watching it, but Dylan Mulvaney found a way to make millions of dollars. Even though I don't agree with it, I can't get mad about the capitalism. My problem with Dylan Mulvaney is this constant need to play the role of the ultimate victim. Throughout the entire Bud Light controversy, Dylan Mulvaney pretended to be the biggest victim. If I remember correctly, Bud Light was the victim of their own shitfuckery. Bud Light lost billions of dollars in revenue. Hell, the biggest victim in that situation were the people who had no control in the decision to hire Bobby D. The hardworking employees, the family-owned distributors who were forced into unemployment. Anytime Dylan Mulvaney gives a speech, there is this constant need to point out the people who don't believe the identity. Why? Why are you so consumed with the people who are rejecting you? You know how often I think about Dylan Mulvaney? Never. When was the last time we talked about Dylan Mulvaney here on the channel? It's got to have been at least 2 months. I think the last time we talked about this was when Dylan Mulvaney claimed to be leaving America because it's not safe. I'm in desperate need of a safe space. I finally found one in South America. Well, that's great. Stay there. If you feel safer in London, stay there. But don't claim to feel unsafe in America, then constantly show up in public in America. Gender identity aside, I think a lot of people have a problem with Dylan Mulvaney because of this complete lack of authenticity. Caitlyn Jenner is a transgender woman. For the most part, Caitlyn Jenner is respected. Do I think Katie Rue Jenner should be named the Woman of the Year? Absolutely not. Did I agree with ESPN giving her the Courage Award? No. But Caitlyn Jenner isn't playing the role of the victim. Caitlyn Jenner isn't pretending that it's unsafe to walk the streets of America as a transgender woman. Like I've told you guys before, Dylan Mulvaney built a career on a gimmick. The gimmick can only last for so long. And I think that's the reason that Dylan Mulvaney has been perfecting the role of the victim. The shock factor has worn off. Transitioning from male Dylan to female Dylan, it's no longer shocking. I would imagine that the controversy with Bud Light put fear into a lot of these companies who were thinking about dealing with Dylan Mulvaney. So what's the best way to remain in the spotlight? You garner sympathy. You make people feel sorry for you. The problem for Dylan Mulvaney, it ain't working. Just like it is with a gimmick, playing the role of the victim, it can only last for so long. How'd that work out for the WNBA? The league received millions of dollars in sympathy money once. Now, they're having to make it on their own. They have to rely on the product on the court to generate revenue, which has not happened in the last 27 years. Dylan Mulvaney is one transgender star away from being irrelevant. All it's going to take is one transgender star to capture the attention of the woke media, and Dylan Mulvaney will be forgotten. Because there is no talent here. Social media influencers, they're a dime a dozen. They're here today, gone tomorrow. It takes talent to sustain longevity. What talent does Dylan Mulvaney possess? Give me your thoughts. Dylan Mulvaney, Woman of the Year in the UK. Are you surprised? Actually, do you think it's a problem that we are no longer surprised by this? Because what's going to be next? The woke movement does not stop. They have to keep pushing the boundaries of decency. What is next? Where do we go from here? They have already infiltrated every aspect of feminine culture. So where do they go next? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.